Assalamu alaikum, hello, and welcome to
Salam.
this week's News and Culture Show with me, Laura Conda, and my co-host, Paul Cooper.
Assalamu alaikum, nice to be with you again.
So just a little bit about the News and Culture Show. We share news from Luton and across Bedfordshire, and we also talk about all the arts and culture things and events that are happening in Luton so that you can get involved, go out and have some fun. So, how's your week been? Or was that a loaded question again?
Well, the day of the show was okay, but then the next day it sort of slid downwards.
Yeah.
And I started getting toothache, and then it got worse, and then I had to get an emergency appointment with our beloved Dr. Shah, who I do love to bits. The only thing is, I love Dr. Shah. But you never get good news when you go and see Dr. Shah, do you?
I don't think you ever get good news when you go see the dentist, really.
Yeah, so
especially an emergency appointment, it's never going to be.
Yeah. So anyway, listeners and viewers, this is where it gets a little bit. So I was released on Friday at 10 to 1. This was at Beach Hill. And I had to then drive it across town, and I had to get to Bushmead because I was delivering the khutbah. So I was standing there during the khutbah. My whole mouth was numb, and I had this big gauze there.
He forgot to mention that you had a tooth out.
Yeah,
that part of this.
Yes, I'd had the tooth out, and then but alhamdulillah, I got through the khutbah, and it seemed to go okay. So yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
The last few days have been bad, so yeah, it's been.
He's had a busy weekend as well. He's had all the in-laws around.
Who?
You have.
I have.
Is it the weekend? We literally had this conversation last week afterwards.
Oh no, they didn't come in the end.
After all that.
Yeah. My wife's cousin. She had a change of plans, but no, she's here for ages, so she's not going back. Yeah, she's not going back to India till the end of August. So she's going to come and stay with us after we get back from holiday.
So
that's there was me. Yeah, so there was me thinking that I was going to do all this cooking on the barbecue, and I said to Fatima, sorry, that's the wife, the boss,
the boss,
the Home Office, the person in charge, and then she says, "Oh, I told you that they weren't coming," and I thought, no, you didn't. And then, of course, then she was adamant. And then I just gave up arguing and just went quiet because I thought, what's the point? Well, there is no point, is there?
There isn't. And I think that's the most sensible thing you can do. Yeah. There's some top tip of marriage advice there for you. Well, listeners out there, always agree with your wife.
Well, that's why I've been. That's why I'm still married after almost 31 years.
Yep, there you go. Alhamdulillah. That's what he's learned. Be quiet. Put up with it.
Actually, once I had kids at work. Not where I'm working now, but I had a kids work at once. They said, "Oh, sir, are you happily married?" And I went, "Yes." And they could tell I was getting something. Why are you saying it like that? So I said, "I know because my wife tells me I am."
Well, fair enough. That is.
I'm gonna get myself.
Yeah, you got to hope she never watches this, otherwise. That's the holidays turkey for him is cancelled. Everyone else is going to be going. He's not going.
No, she doesn't. But if any of you guys tell her,
his life's not going to be worth living.
Yeah, be kind. No one.
Speaking of which, Paul's not going to be with us for the next 2 weeks because he's escaping. Fair play to him. I don't blame him. So it'll just be me potentially on my ones. We don't know yet. We'll have to see if we can find me another cheeky co-host. But should we go on to the news this week? It's quite a lot. Actually, I say there's quite a lot. There's not actually a lot this week. It's been quite quiet news-wise. I was looking through stuff and I was thinking, thank God, there's not been a lot of crime. Dare I say it? It's more things in court, and it's not really any good news either. It's just kind of it'd be one of those weeks if you're a journalist. It's a very long week, put it that way. Be itching your head about what to write. But yeah, so Sarah Owens, Luton North MP. Since she became an MP in 2019, she's been campaigning to bring miscarriage bereavement leave in. So they're currently, it's going to be coming in, actually. I think she's got it through. So currently the law is if you lose a baby before 24 weeks, you're not entitled to bereavement leave. It's only if the baby reaches the 24-week mark. But now
so what stage in gestation have they approved it for then?
From any, basically. So basically, if you have a loss before 24 weeks now, you will be entitled to bereavement leave.
So is that both in the couple or just the wife?
I'm not entirely sure. I presume it's both, because it does talk about it affecting both parents. But it's not entirely clear. I think it's particularly hard for women as well, because you kind of had to take it as sick leave sometimes if you're really unwell afterwards, especially, you know, even if it's before 21 weeks, you can be really unwell with a miscarriage. And I think it can be really particularly hard on them. So I think this is, because, you know, there's up to 255,000 miscarriages each year. There's a lot of women potentially going through that, because, you know, that could be some women that have multiple miscarriages in 1 year. It can be women that have just one. So it's a lot of women, plus another 12,000 impacted by ectopic pregnancies as well. Ectopic, there you go. So yeah, I know that Sarah Owen's been very vocal about, she's been through miscarriage herself, which is why she has kind of campaigned for this law, because she, you know, went through it and knew how hard it was to kind of, she was I believe she was an MP when it happened as well, and it was like really tough for her. But she spoke very powerfully to the Women and Equality Select Committee. So if you don't know what a select committee is, they kind of look at things that happen across the country. It's a group of MPs from all parties, and they look at certain things that happen. So you have things for like transport, you have things for employment, you have things for the Home Office or things like that. And they look into things that have gone wrong and how we can better improve it, or things that are happening. So she went and spoke to one of these select committees about this, and she's been campaigning ever since. And she's been praised by the Miscarriage Association for her tireless, dedicated work to this and getting it through.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it is something that's quite devastating. I mean, I remember it happened to us. We'd been married. Oh, Christ, we've been married about 3 months, and then my wife got pregnant, and then round about 3 months, she miscarried, and it's something you don't really even have the attitude, oh, it might happen. I mean, that might sound naive.
Yeah, but you don't assume. You think that, I think particularly first-time parents think that pregnancy is, particularly as someone that's got 3 children, you know, think it's going to be easy and a walk in the park, and they don't realise, because you'll see a lot either on TV, on social media, and it's a lot about pregnancies like this, and, you know, of having a great time. And I don't think people realise the impact it can have on some women and men as well. Men suffer, particularly with mental health. It can be a real strain on them, and particularly bereavement loss for men in pregnancy can be a real strain, because they feel like they can't talk about it perhaps sometimes, and that it's only their partner that they have to support. And, you know, it can be really tough for men as well. And I think it's good that potentially this is going to be, it's available to any parents who experience loss. So it's both men and women, which I think is excellent, because I think sometimes men need that time to process through grief as well, just as much as women when it comes to miscarriage. So I think it's a really good thing, luckily, because, you know, I know that the Labour MPs in Luton have not been exactly popular recently with certain things that they have voted in favour of. And this is one kind of good positive bit that's come from a Labour MP.
Some people undergo the misfortune when they have several miscarriages.
Yeah, exactly. It can be really tough for some people to have children, and I think this is really going to be helpful for a lot of men and women out there that go through this, and hopefully it helps them get through a very tough time, and, you know, so they don't have to worry about money, especially because it means it's paid leave as well, because I think that's the biggest thing that put people off going off, is that pay, and knowing that they can't potentially take that time off, but this will allow them to have it, which is great. So should we move on?
Yeah, road flooding problems again.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this. So the A421 that goes between the M1, well, it goes quite a long way, but this particular section is between like the M1 junction 13 and Bedford, I believe. Oh no, it might not be.
That's the bit that about a year and a half ago became like a lake.
This is the exact section that they're talking about. Yeah. So that one that was closed, section of road that was closed for 3 weeks after it became a giant lake.
And that's what flooded again.
It's flooded again yesterday, and it's shut again. Still, it's going to be shut. So in September, it's shut for 48 hours after a month's worth of rain. Before it's been shut for 3 weeks. They said that they were fixing the issue.
Yes, I'm just reading it here. It says there was a mechanical issue with a generator which was powering temporary jump pumps at the site. So because the generator wasn't working, the pumps weren't getting any electricity, so nothing was being pumped out.
It is reopened again, I should point out. They had to just shut one lane. It wasn't as bad as last time where it was literally the whole road was under. I think cars were under there as well, weren't they?
I remember it well, yeah.
Cars under there.
I didn't see it personally, but it was quite striking to see.
Well, they had the pictures online. I think you didn't need to go out and see it. Also, you wouldn't want to risk it going in your car.
Interesting though, in fairness, I'm just reading from the report. It said it came after a month's worth of rain, fell in less than 48 hours in that previous September that we're talking about some time ago.
Yeah, so that was really big.
That was when
Bedfordshire was probably I think it was the worst affected county in the whole of the country when that flash rain happened, where it was literally, I remember it was so bad. It wasn't that long ago, but it feels like forever. And obviously on Monday or yesterday we had this big load of rain that it flooded some roads in Luton as well. I was driving down Hatters Way yesterday. Was it yesterday or Sunday? Sunday. I was driving down Hatters Way and it was flooded again.
Oh, whereabouts?
The bit it's between the bit between town and Chall End, and it's the one. It was literally coming out of the drain, the water.
Oh, yeah.
It was that bad.
Another place that often floods is under that bridge that goes towards Caddington, just after. Tesco.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that floods under there.
I remember when I used to teach. I remember going through there with students, and it was literally perhaps 20 centimeters deep.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me, and I think it's really hard. Like the problem is that drains need to be cleaned, but it's impossible for them to do because when they have to close the roads for that sometimes, and then they close the roads, and then people complain about the roads being closed. They do seem to shut all the major roads at once, so I don't know if it's just me.
There's another bit that often floods when you pass there, and you come past the road that would take you to Caddington, but you come straight down towards B&Q, and there's a dip in the road.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, that often floods. I've got caught a lot of times there as well.
I think it's because of the way like roads naturally sit, because that bridge in town by the railway station in Luton Town Centre, that bridge there tends they flood a lot under there as well when it's bad rain. So so it's open again though, but it wasn't as bad as last time. But they are committed to minimising weather-related disruption at Marston Mortain, which is where this keeps happening.
Yeah, they're actually working at the moment to make the interchange to higher ground. So apparently they actually started that in March.
I think after this happens, they the last major one where it was shut for 3 weeks, they had to because they realised it was going to keep happening. I
think that this was just something unfortunate, and I suppose there just hasn't been enough time to get things sorted out in time before. Unfortunately, the difficulty is with the rising temperatures. We're in that situation now where we do get these sudden rain events. They're more frequent, and when we get these sudden rain events, each one is more severe.
Yeah,
and that's what happens with the rising temperature. So you either get very, very dry summers, or if you do get rain in the summer, it'll be interspersed with these extreme events, unfortunately.
That's very true. I mean, this year's been a particularly dry summer. I think we've had that one heavy burst at Sunday, but I think most of the time it's been extremely hot, extremely dry. So I was surprised that there wasn't a drought this year, but apparently there's not at the minute.
Well, actually, I saw something recently on a news feed, and a lot of farmers are really struggling this year because the dryness hit so early on. There wasn't enough rain early on with a lot of the crops to promote adequate growth. So a lot of crops have actually failed.
Well, they had the opposite problem last year where it was too wet and then everything was destroyed because
if you've watched the
Clarkson's Farm.
Yes,
fantastic show.
My wife, she laughs at me about that. When are you ever going to be a farmer? Why have you got interest in that? And I said, well, no, never. But
you wouldn't, unless because I grew up. I've half grown up in Luton, half grown up in a village where there is loads of farms just outside Luton. So I lived in Tolleton for 10 years. And unless you live in those rural communities, you have no idea about farming. I see people I know where to walk on a field, but a lot of people don't, and things like that. And people don't realise how much, even growing hay, how much goes into that and how much precision it is to farming. So I think Jeremy Clarkson has done a fantastic thing by this show, showing people what farming is like. Because if you live in a city, you don't have a clue, or you've never really been into farming. It doesn't mean that you want to go and be a farmer.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a small city. I grew up in Norwich. I didn't have a clue about any of this.
I'm surprised.
And this is the thing.
Given Norfolk's Norwich, isn't it? I haven't got them confused.
Norwich is the city in Norfolk.
Yeah, okay, because I confused Suffolk and Norfolk get very complicated.
Norfolk's the county.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I had to check. But I was surprised because Norfolk is well known for it's 90% farm, apart from Norwich.
Actually, I'll tell you a funny story. When we got married, because my accent is softened a lot now, because I left when I was 21, and I've lived in Luton since '98. But when we first got married, my mum and dad still lived there. They moved here about 16 years ago. And when we first got married, we went up there and we went out into the countryside, and I just bumped into this fella. I just started chatting to him randomly, like you do. After about 10-15 minutes, we sort of parted ways, and this guy went off. And Fatima said to me, "What was that man saying to you?"
I don't blame her. You can't understand it.
She couldn't understand a word this man was saying to me. I
said, I can't understand it either. So I don't. Yeah.
I recently found a thing of the colloquial accent of Norwich, where I grew up, and I actually sent it to my son, who's born and brought up in Luton.
Yeah. And
I said to him, Zane, look at this. I said, and see what you make the accent here. And he came back to me and said, "Oh, I couldn't understand any of that, Dad."
I don't blame him, because I would not be able to either. It is a very distinct accent. I doubt anyone from Norwich is going to be watching this, so hopefully we haven't just insulted you. Oh, sorry, I insulted other people last week as well, accidentally. So, crime.
Which one?
13 arrests.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we're on to crime now.
Yeah.
County lines again. It seems like it's all we talk about is county lines, despite the fact that I feel like it's not Luton specifically. I think it's people from Luton going out into the villages and the towns around Bedfordshire and creating county lines there that's the issue. I know Bedford has been plagued with county lines for quite a while now as well, from people from London coming up to Bedford to sell drugs there. But yeah, I don't think it's a problem as much in Luton, because
actually, I'm not saying, well, I don't mean this to sound negative, but I am going to say it. And I think it is a sad thing, especially in the last year. I've noticed pretty much anywhere you go around Luton, driving around roads or whatever, or behind certain cars, the smell of cannabis these days is just inescapable.
I don't think it's just these days. I think it's always been like that, but I don't it's not. I think when people talk about county lines, it's mainly
you're a lot younger than me. I've been here a long time, and this is quite a recent thing. I can't recall until recently driving around regularly sitting in traffic, and then just suddenly the smell is wafting.
I think there's certain
it has got
particularly
really
in Luton
bad.
Town Centre, there's certain buildings that I won't name that housing that tend to be a bit stinky. But yeah, so they've had a week-long crackdown on county lines crime. They've arrested 13 people and seized more than £36,000 in these crackdowns. They've also seized drugs and knives. They've taken 28 mobile phones, 5 other weapons as well. They don't specify what it is. And the drugs range from Class A to Class B. So that's cannabis, and then your harder drugs that I won't really bring up on the radio because I don't think we need to, but we all know what they are. But it's not just that crackdown of like stop and search and, you know, raids and things like that. They've also been going into schools, having events, transport links, talking about county lines, educating young people and the public of the signs and risks of county lines as well, which I think is really important. Particularly to educate other people as well. Even if you don't have children, you should still be aware of what other children are doing. So if you see a child on a train on their own, looking, you know, I think Bedfordshire Police have got all this information out there, but you know, on their own, you know, regularly, especially if you see them regularly. Cy Philly was, I do recommend if you want to find out more about county lines and knife crime. Cy Philly, who's from Wingman Mentors, was on Brother Dowie's show, Speaker's Corner, last Tuesday. That's available on YouTube. And he was incredibly insightful. He spoke really well about it. And it was great. So I do recommend if you're wanting to know more about county lines and drug dealing, knife crime, and you want to learn about it from someone that works with children and teenagers that are involved with it, really do give that show a listen. He spoke fantastically well on there. I think that's a great way, you know, I think it's a great way for people to learn if they're not sure, just have a listen to a radio show. He spoke really well. Dowie spoke to him well as well. It was a great show. I really enjoyed listening to that.
So what show was that?
It's Speaker's Corner. It's a very popular show. It's with Brother Dowie. He's a revert as well, just like yourself and me. He's been a revert for about 28 years, I think, off the top of my head. And he's been he's quite very popular on TikTok and Instagram, but he's now got a show on Spire FM. But yeah, he had a guest. He did a thing about knife crime, and he had Cy Philly on. He was really good.
I've been on TikTok.
It doesn't surprise me. Paul, I think you should go on TikTok because
actually you're gonna
you're
gonna laugh. I have put Instagram.
You've got Instagram,
right? Remember we're live, so don't laugh.
We're not live, so it's fine. I can edit this.
Well, we're kind of live. I put Instagram on my phone, but I haven't actually figured out how to use it yet. Honestly, I'm not kidding. I look at it. I look at it and I can't figure out how to use it.
You're not that old though, Paul. There's no excuse. There's no excuse, Paul. You're not that old.
This is the one I think I'm going to think to myself. I wish I hadn't said that.
I will send you this YouTube link. All you've got to do is click on it and you can watch the show. It's a great show. I do recommend it. We've got a couple of minutes left. Should we do about the rise in record births? We'll leave that one. I think that's a bit heavy for a last thing. So Luton has had a rise in recorded births last year. It rose for the first time since 2021. After, I don't know if anyone saw, Bridget Phillipson has basically called on young people to have children because sooner rather than later as well, because there's a decline in fertility rates across the country and they're really worried about it.
Yeah, nationally it's down to 1.4 births per couple.
That's low. That's very low.
As significant is, I don't know if you know this, but for the population to be stable, we need an average of 2.2 births per couple, and that gives you a stable population. Because remember, not all of the babies born will, some won't survive till adulthood. But remember, not all of those babies will have babies themselves as adults. So that's like what's the phrase I'm looking for? Magic number or Goldilocks? It's Goldilocks number.
It's the golden number.
It's the Goldilocks number. So if you're below 2.2, the population isn't stable. It's going to be shrinking, and we're down to 1.4.
Well, we've also got an aging population as well. That's the problem, is people are living longer. They need more care, perhaps, because they're living longer. And then we're not going to have people to care for them.
I can remember when I was a kid growing up in the 70s and 80s, it was 2.4 then.
Yeah, because they had that show, didn't they? 2.4 children.
2.4 children, yeah. It was 2.4 when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So that's a massive change.
It's a huge change. It's a huge change. There was only 2,561 births registered in Luton compared to 1,822 in Central Bedfordshire. Central Bedfordshire, did they have an increase? Sorry, I can't read. Their births fell by 5.1%.
In beds?
Yeah. Which is very surprising.
Yeah, so in that period there were 567,708 live births last year, which was up from 563,561 in 2023. So it's gone up. It's gone up about 4,200 between 1 year and the next in the figures. So that is a significant increase, especially when you take into account the national trend is much well, it's actually decreasing.
Yeah,
and we're increasing.
Well, I don't blame people, to be honest, because cost of living. I have 3, and it's expensive, but mine are a lot older now. Like, one of mine's about to go into college. He's just finished his GCSEs, and then the other 2, one's in high school and one's in the final years of primary school. So, you know, but if you're a young person these days, you wouldn't want to have children. The cost of it all, like, it's not just your rent, it's childcare, it's the fact that both parents really have to work now. It's not a choice, that they have to. And so it's going to be really tough for them to afford to be able to have children. I'm not surprised that less people are doing it now.
I mean, things have changed a lot. I mean, when I was a child, it was uncommon then for women to have jobs.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was uncommon for women to have jobs. And my own assessment, this whole thing of women's lib and women going out and working, I don't mean in any way, if that's what a woman wants to do, fine. But I actually think there was always a hidden agenda about it. The real agenda, in my opinion, was about women saying to women, okay, don't be happy with your role as a mother and looking after the home. You've got to compete with men on every level. And what was the result of that, and why was it done? Why was this sold to the public? Because it enabled the people that ran the country to double the size of the workforce. Now, what has that resulted in? Well, double the size of the workforce meant that they could put house prices up. So what have we got 30, 40 years on? Exactly as you've said, whereas it was normal just for the father's wage to be enough to pay for everything, we have a situation now in this country where 2 people working full time, they still cannot make ends meet. They still can't make ends meet. And we've got 1 child in 3 now growing up in poverty in this country. It's
a shockingly high statistic that shouldn't be that high. And the fact that welfare bill was going to make it worse was shocking.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for this half of the episode. We'll see you after the break. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Get Luton prayer and Jamaat times for your local masjid on your phone. Download the Inspire FM app. Available for free on the App Store or Google Play.
Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome back to the second half of the News and Culture Show with me, Laura Conda, and my co-host, Paul Cooper.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Just for anyone that doesn't know, the News and Culture Show covers news from across Luton and Bedfordshire, as well as events, arts and culture that are happening around the town, so that you can go out, have fun and get involved. So joining us now, we have Sarah March from Cats Protection. She's the branch team manager for Luton and Dunstable, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm the branch team leader. Yeah,
branch team leader.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about Cats Protection, because some people might not know what you guys do?
Okay. Well, Cats Protection is the it is the largest feline welfare charity in the country, UK. So Northern Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales. I am with the Luton, Dunstable and District branch. Cats Protection as a whole is actually almost 100 years old.
Wow.
So in 2027 we will be 100. And our branch will be 20 years old next year as well. So we'll have some celebrations.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got some big anniversaries coming up.
Basically, our area is all the LU postcodes. So we help people across those postcodes with stray cats, their owned cats. We rehome cats, kittens. We have 10 fosterers that look after tiny kittens to really old souls, as it were. So we do have a few specialists in branch looking after those cats.
No, that's absolutely fine. So how long have you been at Cats Protection then?
I've been in branch since 2019. So I actually started off as the TNR team, because we also do TNR, which is trap, neuter, return, release cats. And we help the community neutering their cats as well, which is very important. Various health issues.
Yeah.
Cats can get pregnant from 4 months old.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, they can.
It's 4 months, yeah.
Yeah.
So tiny little kitten, only
Having a
kitten
kitten,
themselves
yeah.
having their own kittens, and that can lead to horrible.
I'm a cat owner myself, Sarah.
events for them.
But our cat's, she's about 3 now.
Mm.
I honestly can't remember. I followed the advice from the vet. How old does your kitten have to be before you go and take them to be neutered? I can't remember.
Okay, there's a couple of things actually. Some vets will not do them at 16 weeks, i.e. 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Some will insist on them being 6 months old.
Right.
But it can also be based on their weight as well. So if they're not, they're not heavy enough to cope with the anaesthetics and everything involved in that, the vet may say, no, we need, this cat needs to be put a bit more weight on, and then, we can neuter them once. I think from memory, it's something like 2 kilos. So once they reach that, then but generally your vet will advise you the best way forward.
Yeah. Well, I'll never forget actually. When we got her as a kitten, it was actually off a colleague when I was working at Cardinal Newman.
Yeah.
And my daughter came to work there as a temporary teacher doing cover, and she became good friends with this colleague who was working there in the science department. And she said, "Oh, my cat's had kittens." So Alia goes round there and sees the kittens, and that's it. She says, "Mum, I'm bringing a kitten." "No, you're not." Need to.
Is she the one that's in love with the kitten the most now? Because that's usually what happens.
My wife loves her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's always the one that says that they don't want the cat that ends up being the most in love with the cat.
Yeah. But so when we got her, I went out and bought the carry basket. And it's funny, you think the carry basket is so big when you get it because the kittens are so little. She's quite a big girl. She's quite a big cat now, and she fills the thing.
Yeah.
I'll never forget actually. Last time I had to take her to the vet, and you've probably heard this lots of times before or experienced it. But when I go in there, she gets nervous, and she'll walk up my arm and she sits across my shoulders to try and get as far away from the vet as she can. It's so cute, so cute. Yeah.
So what's the importance of neutering? Because I know you were talking about it's really important.
health benefits. I mean, one of the obvious benefits with like the males, they will fight trying to, get the local female cat. They can spread diseases amongst them, like FIV, which is one of them, which is the feline equivalent of HIV.
Yeah.
Oh, was that the leukemia one?
And there's the leukemia one as well.
Oh, that's a different one.
Yes,
There's two different ones, FIV and FELV, which is the leukemia.
So can they be vaccinated for this FIV?
Once they have it, it stays with them for life.
Ah, so there isn't a vaccination for that one?
No, there isn't. No, and neither is there for feline leukemia either, unfortunately.
Okay.
So that they will be left with those for the rest of their lives, basically.
Right.
And obviously, the younger the cat is, the more potential there is of I say cat, the female cat, the potential for them to experience difficulties during the pregnancy and
childbirth. It's like childbirth.
It is, it is. So they can experience difficulties during that, and for the sake of how much it costs for a spay compared to a C-section, can be enormous, and sometimes the outlook for the cat and the kittens is really not very good. So it's important that we do get them neutered and spayed from the age of, as I say, it's 4 months, but most vets, it's 6 months onwards.
Yeah.
I mean, what sort of time does it take for the vets to do the neutering and the spaying? Is it a fast thing?
Not very long at all.
They do it quite quickly, do they?
They do it quite quickly, yeah.
Right.
I mean, yes, your cat may be there all day because
I suppose they're making sure they've recovered from the anaesthetic safely and stuff like that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
But the actual cutting bit, they do that quite quickly.
Yeah, it's for a standard spay and neuter, it's usually keyhole surgery, so it is very quick indeed. And as I say, the benefits are enormous for the cats and the people as well, because unwanted kittens.
It's not just that as well. Male cats, when they spray, it's
they
disgusting.
Yeah.
It's the most horrible smell. Having had, now it turns out, I'm male unneutered cats. It's a disgusting smell.
It can be quite.
Is it true, Sarah? Something I came across that if you have. And I wasn't sure whether this was true, so obviously we've got the expert to ask. Is it true if you have your cat neutered, the benefits are that they can live longer lives? Is that true?
They can, because they don't, especially the males, don't get themselves into situations where if they're chasing the female or fighting, they can die from injuries. They can get run over. Same, the cat runs across the road. Same with the female cats as well. So it will help them live longer lives.
I think it also reduces, particularly for female cats, it reduces their risk of cancers in the womb as well, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that is true. What I came across then.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a female cat that's had numerous litters, they can. I can't actually remember what the condition is called, but they can get a problem with their womb, and that can be life-threatening.
Yeah.
And yes, they do get cancers on their teats. So, yeah.
Same way we do.
Yeah. So the same way. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. The same way that we do. Yeah.
I think people just forget that. They just think that cancer really affects humans, but it can affect cats as well. And even dogs.
Affects cats. Yeah. Dogs. Yeah.
Yeah. I know we're talking about cats today, but it does affect dogs as well.
Yeah.
If someone's considering right now, if they were sitting there thinking, I really want to get a cat or a kitten, what would be your kind of advice to them?
Okay. Well, my advice is come to a charity like ourselves, because all our cats are checked.
So you can help people if they want to buy a cat. You can help them find one.
We have cats. So we're a rehoming charity.
Oh,
So
I didn't know.
in Branch we have.
I've been a cat owner. There was a big gap in my life, but I grew up with cats, and we now have one.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I would say adopt, don't buy. That's one of the mottos that we use.
Yeah.
We do have numerous cats in our care at the moment, and we rehome on probably 60 cats a year, just our branch. So my advice is, if you are looking, come to us.
Yeah.
We do have all our cats are health checked, and microchipped, which is law. That became law last June for cats 20 weeks and above.
I remember that we got that done with our cat Mimi. We got it microchipped. Yeah.
We also.
I think when I got it done, it wasn't quite compulsory. Then it came.
No, it's
just
only
after.
just come out. Yeah.
Yeah. We also vaccinate them as well, and we do neuter them. And all we ask is a small donation, an adoption fee. It doesn't go anywhere near to cover our costs, but it's yes, please adopt, don't buy.
Right. Okay.
For those people that have got a cat and need them neutered but are struggling with the costs, because of the cost of living, I know PDSA doesn't cover in Luton. So what is there anything that Cats Protection can do to help those people?
Yes, we can help them with the cost of neutering or spay. And what they need to do is contact us, and we can issue vouchers in part payment to help them with the cost of neutering. So they just need to call us on our call centre number or email our inquiries email address. We make contact with them, and we can help them with the cost of that.
So what's that contact number then, Sarah?
Okay, our branch contact number is 0345 371 2746.
Right.
And is that who they contact if they needed that support with neutering?
That phone number is for any inquiry to do with anything to do with cats, neutering, adoption. If anybody wants to become a fosterer or join as a volunteer within branch, they can all contact that number. It is a call centre, so there is options to press depending on what service you want. Yeah. And those inquiries will be passed along to us in branch.
Okay. Whereabouts is your branch based, by the way? Because I don't think I've ever seen it.
We don't actually have a centre as such. Okay. The branch is run purely by volunteers from their own homes.
Wow.
So most of our fosterers are what we call whole house fosterers. So we do have a couple of pens as well, but it's generally our own homes. We don't have a centre at all.
And do you foster yourself?
I don't. No,
I don't blame you. It's a lot.
I don't have the room, and I've got 2 cats of my own. So if you've got your own animals, they have to be kept separate. So yes, I don't have the room, unfortunately.
I was going to say, I don't blame you. It's a lot to take on to foster a cat because you don't know what they've been through, and cats,
it is, but it's greatly rewarding, which is why some of our fosterers have been with us since inception of branch, really.
Wow.
And they enjoy doing it. And that, some of them have the most difficult cats. Some are specialists in looking after the kittens.
So I have to ask. So, what number of cats and kittens will some of your colleagues look after them?
Well, it can be from 1 cat up to currently we've got 2 cats in 2 pens with 4 kittens each. So that's 10 in total. Yeah. So you go from
that's a lot.
1 single cat to 10 possible little furry felines.
Yeah, I've got. I'm ashamed to admit this. I've got 9 myself. Had a extra unexpected litter, or 2 because I didn't get her spayed quick enough the second time. I really recommend, as someone that's got so many, it's a lot to do. It's a lot to take on. So do spay and neuter your cats. And it will be the world of good.
I've got to say, actually, proper hats off, because we've only got one, and she properly keeps us busy. I mean, she has 5 people in our house, literally running after her like she's the baby. Honestly, she lives a luxury life. Okay, that's all I can say. How do you cope with 9?
It's all right. It's just the food costs are probably food costs are the biggest thing.
That's more worried than your children.
I get they do cost more than my children sometimes.
No, I said that's more time and worry than your children.
I know, but I think the kids love it as well, and it's taught them how to be with animals as well, because they've been brought up with. I've had my eldest cat for 5 years now. I did have another cat beforehand, but unfortunately she was hit by a car and died. So I try and keep them inside as much as possible. But it's a lot, but I do really recommend getting them spayed and neutered. And if you do need help, obviously Cats Protection are here to support you with that cost if you're struggling. Also, like I use PDSA where I used to live previously because it was available, and they're also another option if you do have that in the area.
So what's that?
PDSA, it's they're a vets specialist, but they do discounted for people on universal credit or on certain benefits. So if they're struggling with the cost of veterinary care, that they can get that support.
What's it called?
PDSA.
People's Dispensary for Sick Animals.
I'm glad you know, because
I had to think.
Okay, I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
There
is help out
great.
there. So
They're great.
There is help out there. So guys, if you do have pets and you're struggling, please do go to somewhere else and like Cats Protection, and they can support you with that cost.
Actually, I've got to say that I don't know what you think of this, but do you know the thing that I've learned the most thing about cats?
What?
I've done searches on YouTube. I've learned so much about understanding your cat's behaviour and their little things. Like, for example, why is it near where you're in the window, they go and sit on the windowsill? They're on patrol looking out for everyone.
Yeah.
I've learned so much about their behaviour. And when they're doing all these things around you, it's like they're showing their devotion to you.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, when they catch things in the garden and they bring them to the door, again, that's showing
you're part of their pack.
Yeah, that's showing love back to you. That's like they're bringing you a present home.
Yeah.
I didn't understand any of this. Honestly, you can learn so much if you. So guys, well, that's my experience. If you want to find out a lot of how your cat is behaving, I learned. I would go as far.
I was going to say you've got information
on the website actually. Behaviour and
I'd go as literally as far as to say I really didn't understand pretty much any of the cat's behaviour until I started searching on YouTube. There's a lot of good stuff on there.
Yeah,
really good. Yeah.
Most things are covered on our website.
And you've got some leaflets available as well.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And they, if you do want to reach out to cats, they do have a team at Dallow Centre where we're based, and they're usually here on a Tuesday afternoon. So if you are looking to get more information and some face-to-face conversation, they're the best people to go and speak to.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us, Sarah.
Okay,
and taking the time.
Been a pleasure.
I'm just going to give you guys that number, and then perhaps you can give the web address. So the contact number is 035
45.
Sorry?
0345.
What did I say?
You said 035.
Oh, I do apologize. Right, forget that. I'll start again. 0345 371 2746. And Sarah, what's your web address, please?
Okay, if you want to find us on the web, if you just put in the search engine Cats Protection Luton, it will appear on there, and click on the link and you'll see our own webpage, and you can view our lovely cats that are available for adoption on there as well.
Oh, right. So if someone's really interested, they can actually see.
Yeah,
they can actually see photos of the ones you're looking after
click
now.
On Adopt a Cat, and all the cats that we have that are ready to be adopted are all there. There's some lovely little characters on there.
Wow,
Right.
fantastic!
Thank you so much, Sarah. Have a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Cool. Do you want to pause?
Yep.
So joining us.
Oh, there you are. The bar's gone. We can see. We can see you now, Amy.
Right. So joining us now is Aimee Clarke. I'm not sure who she's from this week. We did have her last week where she was from Community Interest Luton, but she is going to be talking to us about wellness walks. So thanks for coming on again, Aimee.
London guys, how are you?
How are you?
Good, thank you. Not too bad. Yeah, back again.
Back again, though. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. So do you want to talk a little bit about what wellness walks are? Because some people might not know what it is for.
So wellness walks literally it's a community initiative which comes under Community Interest Luton, where one of our colleagues saw the need for support locally, because a lot of people, they're suffering from loneliness, they're socially isolated, especially after COVID. There was a lot of impact of people not connecting. Everything was online, on the phone and things like that. And we've got all these great nature spaces in Luton. We've got Barton Hills, we've got Sundon Park Hills, even the likes of Wardown Park. So we decided to create the Wellness Walk, which is basically a 6-mile walk. Kind of happens every 6 weeks. And it's normally a group of around 20 people. Anyone can join, and you meet people from all over the community to just talk. Really, you talk, you go for a lovely stroll through the nature that is surrounding Luton, because everyone thinks you have to go really far to see like beautiful countrysides and all of these wonderful places, but we do these walks every 6 weeks, and there is such beauty in being in nature, but also it grounds you in the sense of there's no, oh, let's take pictures, oh, let's bring this person, let's do this. It's kind of you and the group that you're with, and you talk and you have conversations with people, and you realize that you're actually on a walk with someone who lives on your road, or someone, I know your mum, or you're my doctor. And there's a variety of different organizations that also support like total well-being. We've got doctors that come along as well from the local community, and it's having that one-to-one talk that really connects people. And I think we've seen the statistics where kind of like being socially isolated actually it plays a part in kind of high blood pressure, heart diseases, obesity, diabetes. We know that is strong within our community as well. We know that we've got people locally that are dying because of these diseases. So Wellness Walk is in place to help people not only tackle the loneliness and the social isolation, but also bring the community together to get back into walking or strolling. It's not, you don't have to run, you don't have to be someone that can walk miles and miles and miles. It is literally, we go at your pace and nobody gets left behind. So even if it takes us 2 hours to complete, we'll always complete together. And I think that's it is really it's just more a community based walking group. It's probably the way to put it.
So I'm sorry, you go first.
Oh, sorry. So what sort of distance is it? The walk, is it a set distance, or?
So it turns around to be about, it is roughly just under 6 miles, I think, which is around 6 miles. I don't know how to narrow that down. It's kind of like walking from one side of Barton Hills to the other, basically. So you kind of go up one side of the hill and come down out on the other side, which is, it's about 6 miles ish. Sometimes it's less, it depends on the weather. Sometimes we only, sometimes we'll only do 3, because there have been times where we've started the walk and then we've got torrential rain. But we base it on where we're going to walk, first of all, because some of the walks they can be quite hilly. So obviously we won't do a whole 6 mile walk when you've got loads of hills, because it's exhausting. So they'll only do a mile and a half one way and a mile and a half back. So you kind of only do, say, 3 miles. It just varies, but they happen kind of every 6 weeks.
Wow. I can see now, because your advert it says Sunday 20th July, it's a meeting at Warden Hill Car Park. This is the thing. That's why I said how far do you go, because it says from 9 till 1. Crumbs at 6 miles. I don't think I've ever.
You probably have walked 6 miles and just not realised it, because I think it's
no.
I've done it before. It's not that bad.
I don't think I've ever walked 6 miles anywhere in my life.
I promise you, it's not that bad. It does take a while, but it's so worth it. I mean, have you done one of these walks before, Amy?
Yeah, so I've gone quite a few of them. I've probably out of the 18 we've done, I've probably missed 4. But I really enjoy them because it gives me a chance not just to see what Luton has to offer, because we actually do have some beautiful places. Like we've done walks to like the Lily Village, which not many people actually know about it, that you can walk from kind of the back of where Active Luton is up in Stopsley. You can walk the whole way down into Lily Village and back again. And it seems like when people...
I know from that area there, I can't remember. The only reason I know it is from the school I worked at before I retired. I know you can walk from there and end up at that hill behind Cardinal Newman.
Yeah,
because they do it.
That's what the walk's going to be. This is Warden Hill.
Oh, is that the one?
That's the one.
Oh no. Right. I never did. I never. They never let me go on the walk because of my asthma. I always used to go. They used to make me stay behind and look after
the other children that couldn't go because of their asthma.
Well, no, or either that or they were too naughty to go. So
the children that weren't allowed.
So they'd be left behind in the library.
You were the library cheat.
Well, no, pretty much my whole career, because of my asthma. If there was trips out of school and they didn't used to take me, I used to stay back at school.
So what other places? Obviously, the next one's at Warden Hill, but what have you got? Any others coming up that you've got planned?
Well, obviously, this is the July one. Is our next one. Our next one will probably be end of August, beginning September. But again, it depends on. Normally, our colleague Sujo, he does the route first, so he'll check out all these different routes and decide which place would be the best one. Because obviously, sometimes, if it rains, going up hills and things like that, obviously the mud's all slippy. We can't take people on there, especially, we have elderly people that come, we've got young kids that come, people with disabilities. Like it's open to everybody. So we have to make sure that the terrain that we're going to do is suitable for everybody, and that although he runs it, we all stroll, we walk. Like I'm normally at the back, I'm normally like the spot at the back that's just guiding everyone else to like keep going, like it's okay guys, because it's...
Sorry, sister, I got to ask, did you just say he runs it?
So he runs, but he is a professional runner and coach.
So he doesn't walk.
He walks it when he's with the group. But
I just checked. So when you said run, I was just checking. You didn't mean like he organises it. He actually runs the walk. That's what you mean.
Yeah. So he organises it, runs the walk beforehand, and then does the walk with us. But he's also a coach as well. So it's good to have him on board. When some of us are falling behind, he'll give that motivational speech and you're like, actually, I can complete this. And before you know it, you've done kind of 6 miles and not even realize, because you've been talking the whole time. Like you start talking to someone next to you who's kind of walking at the same pace as you. And it's like, oh, we're finished now. And then sometimes at the end, like we'll have tea, coffee, snacks, just, as a little like sit down, have a chat, have a cold drink or a hot drink, depending how you feel. But they are really beneficial. I mean, I think I enjoy going on them. It is early morning on a Sunday, and I know it says 9 till 1, but we tend to finish way before that. It's just to give enough time for everybody who comes. Some people come late, so you have to cater for that as well.
So how does it work, Amy? If someone wants to come, have they got to phone you or go online to register?
We've got an Eventbrite link which I can share with you guys. I can update the post with the Eventbrite link on, and people just register through there.
Okay, right. So Warden Hill car park, is that car park right behind at the top behind Cardinal Newman School?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you walk all the way from
When
there.
he first read it, he was confused about whether you walk around the car park or not. I was like, definitely not. Not the hills. But so yeah, your next one is at 2 p.m. Sorry, not at 2 p.m. On the 20th of July, starting at 9 a.m. So if you want to get signed up, if you're thinking, I want to get fit, I say 6 miles. It seems like a lot when you're thinking about it, but when you're walking it, it doesn't feel like a lot, I don't think, compared to like probably doing it in other versions of exercise. And I think especially if you're talking to people, if you're having fun, if you're enjoying the conversation,
and we have stops and things like that, so it doesn't feel like 6 miles because, you know, we walk for a bit, then we all catch up and we stop, and you know, when there's like a scenic view, you take pictures and you're resting, and then before you know it, you're walking again, and then kind of it does, time just gets away from you. You don't realize that actually you've walked 6 miles and you've actually been out for like 3 hours.
I have to ask, what sort of numbers of people do you get coming on these, Amy?
So on average, I would say the average attendance is around 25 people. But we have had groups of, when we normally during Ramadan, we'll do an iftar under the stars. We normally do that up in Dunstable Down. So we'll go for like a really short walk. It's like about just under a mile because obviously everyone's fasting. So we do like a little walk around, and then afterwards we provide iftar for everyone, and that's we normally have around 50 to 80 people attend that one. But on kind of like our average Sundays, yeah, we have around 20-25 people.
Wow.
Sometimes more, sometimes less. I think it depends on the weather.
Okay, thank you for coming on, Amy. Again, we really appreciate it. Sorry, it's like we started to you so much last minute as well, so we really appreciate you coming on.
No, it's all good.
To us. On the social media, we'll put up a short of Amy with the Eventbrite link so that you can sign up if you want to. It's going to be on the 20th of July, 9 a.m. at Warden Hill Car Park is the starting point. Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you so much, guys. Assalamu alaikum. Take care.
So that's all. That's it this week for us listeners. We will see you. Well, you'll see me next week. Brother Paul will not be here. He's off on his hollybobs.
Yeah, I'm away, unfortunately.
He'll be back soon though. And thank you so much, and see you next week. Assalamu alaikum.